Welcome to On the Edge with April Mahoney Brains. Here, this is the spot where the conversation is pointed, the guests are sharp, and the responses are never dull. Welcome home, Brains. There's only one requirement to hang out on the edge, is that you open your big brain and close your small mind. Did you bring your thinking caps? It's time to put them on, because the conversation starts now. Welcome to On the Edge with April Mahoney. How are you today, Brains? I hope you're doing good, because you're back at the spot, the place where the conversations are pointed in your face. The guests are sharp, there she is, and the responses here are never dull. We're going to the UK, London town. I'm going to have a good conversation with my sister friend about personal relationships, personal responsibility, the goddess in us. Because when you hit a particular age, you become unapologetic. And I am right there at this time. And it's more than the menopause. We ain't pausing, we're going full throttle. So don't get it confused and think that because we are, going through some physical changes, that our minds are not in sync. This is Valerie Ritchie. She was an athlete. We're going to talk to her about that too. Look at that. I'm so glad to talk to her about so many things. But what I want to talk to you about is embracing your journey. Are you an individual that is, struggling with anger, frustration, blame, despair, loss, grief? What does all of that look like? Are you in denial? Are you resisting it? Or are you exploring it and committing to it to make a change? She's an author. We're going to talk to her about her book. And she rides a bike through London. She told me she don't have a car. She said she ride a bike. Let's see how that's working for her, because it ain't working for me here in California. I need a vehicle. So let's welcome her to the show. How you doing, Miss Valerie?
I'm great, thank you. I'm actually based in the Northwest, and it's Warrington, not London.
Oh, Warrington. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm coming there. I got to get my geography right. So when I get on the bike, I know I'm going the right direction. Okay. So tell me. So you have Central London. Give me a little visual.
So London, so the capital is London, and I lived in the northwest of England. So a little bit further up and to the side, slap between Manchester and Liverpool.
Oh, I'm coming to Liverpool.
Yes.
I'm hoping I'll be there for 2 days. So maybe you can get your bike over there. Maybe do an Uber. So tell my brains a little bit about you, how you show up in the world.
So I show up in the world as a crone goddess.
Hmm.
And what I mean about that is a powerful, wise, undeniably unapologetic midlife woman who seizes the day. I have fire in my belly and I'm ready to live my life fully.
I'm with you. And we're going to talk about that. Because I have run into some people. I just had to cut them off here recently, Valerie. They no longer serve me. And yes, I said no longer serve me because it's about me. It's about you. When it's your turn to shine, I'm going to put the light on you. But when it's my turn to shine, I am not going to allow you to turn it down. You wrote a chapter in an anthology.
Yes.
About your experience. Let's start with that. Share with us a little bit, an excerpt from the book.
Okay.
And we can take it from there.
Yeah. So the book is a volume, is Courage Under Siege. And the subheading is Trauma to Transformation. And the thing about this book, initially I thought, well, I haven't suffered any trauma. But as the publisher said, trauma can come in any way. And we don't always have to have this big, massive trauma to think we have trauma. So my chapter is called From Silence to Symphony. And I start with, And Still I Rise, Maya Angelou. From the curious child I was, the observant adult I became, to the voice of joy I am, my journey from silence to symphony started. A reawakening, a reconnection, a realignment, a rebalancing, and a reclamation was born. This was about change, major change, a disruption, an explosion of emotions causing mayhem, chaos, and some may say crisis, but not I. This was a midlife revolution. You see, I woke up to who I am, no longer forgotten, not invisible, but most importantly, not in silence. I came out the same way as when I was born, screaming, and this was my rebirth.
Wow.
My silence began before I was born. I made my way into the world feet first, always wanting to test the waters before jumping in. I was breech, an umbilical cord wrapped around my neck, and a cesarean saw me enter the world. I was called Valerie, anointed by my godmother because my parents didn't know what to call me. I was an ugly child, and my mother didn't hesitate to tell me so. Was this the next stage of my silence? I was curious, child. Curiosity didn't always bode well, but what it meant for me was I loved learning, knowledge I devoured, and I wanted to know more. I would seek it out, I would ask questions, I would pester. My father answered, my mother did not. I was a child, it was understandable. My mother had 3 children under the age of 9, a teenager in the UK, and another one on the way from Jamaica. Then she became a grandmother. Was this the reason for my silence? No, I still had a voice. Maybe quiet, but it was there. No, my silence came a little bit later. My quest for knowledge led me to be studious, placing me in a top group in primary school, unfortunately, making me an easy target for bullies. And as I progressed through primary school, my intelligence and curiosity often stayed in the shadows, as I was mindful that the answers I might not want, I expected to hear. Despite these challenges, I managed to excel academically and passed the 11 plus, earning a place at Stretford Grammar School for Girls, a school for the cream of the crop, supposedly. This achievement, however, was met with indifference at home, which deepened my growing sense of isolation. It was my turn. I couldn't wait to learn more. I was in my element to discover, to acquire more information. My brain cried for knowledge, and this was my opportunity. I no longer would be teased for being bright. I no longer would have to avoid the bullies on the way home. However, on my first day of secondary school, in my very first class, which was French, my confidence was shattered and I became wary of participating in further class discussions. I told the girl next to me, I was excited. I knew the French word for cat. I was eager to learn French. My sister, who was 3 years older, was taught French at her school, and she taught me some words. One of them was cat, le chat. My teacher, Miss Davis, overheard the conversation and told me to leave the class for misbehaving and only return when I could behave myself. It was yet another defining moment. My excitement for learning had been crushed and turned into public humiliation and shame. And with those words, I became silent.
Wow. You know, I had an experience in middle school too, but it's awful that you were bullied for being smart and being courageous. And your mother called you ugly?
Yes, and that one word stayed with me for the longest time. It had the biggest effect on my life, on every decision that I made until my midlife.
Wow.
And that was coming from a child's perspective.
Correct.
Because as you know, we see things differently.
Mm-hmm.
We hear things differently. But it didn't mean that my mother thought I was ugly because it was the only time she used those words. And before she died, I asked her about it and she denied it. And she couldn't understand where it came from.
Mm-hmm.
However, that word stuck with me for the whole of my life.
Wow.
And I always said, when people have children, be careful of the words you use, even if it's
But
flippant.
my daughter told me when she was little, I watch every single thing you do. Yeah. And sometime the rage is going to come out and you're going to say things, but we never know what is going to really penetrate,
Yeah.
what is going to saturate the heart. And, you could have been acting, and, they want you to use these psychological terms. You're acting ugly. You know, just sometimes you just don't think that as a parent. You're in the moment. So I'm
Yeah.
sorry that you had that experience and it resonated with you because you are beautiful. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. And I
And you
hope that
know,
carries with you the rest of your life.
yes, because you know, I started to reflect as a midlife woman. You know, I started to go over the little things that have happened over the years. And that was one of the biggest things I reflected on because my mum never used ugly at any time. She denied it. And I had to think, well, where did I hear it? And it was most likely because I was pestering her. I was asking questions. I wanted to know where my name came from. And she said, when I was born, I was so ugly, we didn't know what to call you. So your godmother gave you your name. But all the other things I didn't hear, I just heard ugly.
Right, right.
Yeah.
And then it manifested as you carried on in your life,
Yes.
and then the bullying.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about relationships and talk about our youth before we go into our maturity.
Mhm.
Because I had a very traumatic experience. And what I did was I shared that with a friend. This friend I just eliminated out of my life a few days ago. Been my friend 17, 18 years. But it was my friend of me. Okay.
Yes.
Because when they came out, I could hear jealousy, I could hear animosity, I could hear their pain, I could hear their frustration, and I could also hear that they were a little bit trying to relive their life vicariously through me. So there was a
Mhm.
whole lot of stuff that was going on. And I had to look at it and say, this no longer serves me. This is dangerous. We are women of a particular age. We are unapologetic. I don't need flip flop friends. Flip flops are shoes that you wear on the beach. What I need is solid consistency. We can agree to disagree, but don't try to use things to hurt me, to
Mhm.
trigger me. And friendship is different for everyone. When
Absolutely.
when you were growing up and in middle school, you were athletic, you expected a certain thing. You go into this French class, you want to do some parlez-vous français. You want to impress your teacher and all that. And then what she does, she publicly shames you.
Yes.
But again, in her defense, I don't know if she really thought that it was going to penetrate you the way that it did. Are you an empathic individual? Are you sensitive?
I am sensitive.
Okay.
Um, and often enough, people look at me and don't assume I am. They see me as a strong woman.
Mm-hmm.
And I sometimes think it's because I've been independent, I've just got on with life, and I might ooze that. So they automatically think, oh, she'll be fine. But I am actually quite sensitive. I pick up on things.
Mm-hmm. And it's hard because this person that I eliminated, I could tell they've had a very tumultuous life. Nothing in their life, none of their relationships work out. And how can I expect for them to love and care for me if you don't love and care for yourself? How did you find self-love? How did you find the courage to, step up to the plate and say, no more of this nonsense?
You know, it's all those little moments in life that we have, all the little incidents that sort of pushes you, challenges you. And then one day you just have to say to yourself, no more. You just have to say, you know what? this has to stop. I cannot keep doing the same thing or expecting the same thing from others. And one of the things is it's important to put yourself first. That is
Absolutely.
primarily important.
Absolutely. And people, they think, well, it's selfish, it's conceited, it's arrogant. I'll have a conversation with somebody and they'll be a Debbie Downer. They'll be negative. They suck the oxygen right out of the room. And so what I do is I try to change the subject. I talk about me, I talk about other things, but then that becomes a bone of contention because misery loves company.
Yes, it does.
But misery don't live here, and I'm not coming to your house. I do everything I can to pull myself up by the bootstraps, you know? And is it an illusion sometimes? Absolutely. But that's what life is. You are responsible for creating your own reality, right, Valerie?
100%. You have to take it on board. It's your life. And one of the things people forget is you have choice. You can choose that way or you can choose that way. You actually have choice. A lot of people think they don't, but they really do. You can accept the way someone treats you or not accept the way someone treats you. It might take you a little bit of time to do that, but at the end of the day, we do have choice
And
and
it
we need to
hurts.
choose.
It hurts to make those choices sometimes. Those are tough choices. These are people
Mm,
that you care about. But nobody is going to love Valerie. Nobody is going to love April the way Valerie loves Valerie and April loves April. Nobody
no,
except for the creator. That's it.
that is so
Not
true.
even our parents. There are a
Okay.
lot of parents that weren't meant to be parents. And they look at their children. I mean, call them bad, call them ugly, call them spoiled. But then there are some parents that are brutal, put their hands on them, put them out, abuse them, sexually abuse them. So everybody is not cut from the same cord, and it's hard. And what we
Mm,
have to do is allow ourselves some grace, allow ourselves some space. But it
yeah.
takes a long time to realize that that's not that's somebody else's stuff that they put on me. Then as we evolve and we get into relationships, then you got to edit and filter what this new person that you're going to marry or have kids
Mm.
with or shack up with the rest of your life, you've got to conform and concede. What happened to you when you fell in love and you started to create a life for yourself?
You know, because if I go back to the ugly, that's one of the things that stopped me from actually letting myself be loved
Mm.
and opening myself up for love. And when I did, I was actually in my 40s.
Wow.
Yeah. Um, I met a man and he was great, absolutely lovely. And he loved me and I loved him and he made me feel, loved and beautiful. Um, but unfortunately, I was changing. I was becoming me, truly becoming me. And therefore, we ended up getting divorced. And
So
it
how
was
did
a good
becoming
relationship.
okay, well wait, let me pump the brakes right there. How did becoming that in my opinion, again from an outsider looking in, as you start to evolve and rise and find this self-love, did you become arrogant? Did you become cocky? Did you grow in a different direction? Did you see your partner as ugly? What was the divide? I would think that this would be, you're coming out.
Yes. And I would agree with you. This was my coming out. I mean, I left, I was made redundant from a 30-year career in education. So I was a senior lecturer, teaching students to work in sports, the field, sports scientists, psychologists, and in the fitness industry. And I was made redundant. And after that redundancy, because I spent 30 years working, I
Mm-hmm.
was tired. I wanted some time out and I wanted time for myself. And I was developing this time. But maybe he thought I wasn't going to do anything, but I
Mm-hmm.
was. I had no intention of sitting on my butt and not doing anything. I was trying to create my business, take it forward. And it was that constant, well, maybe you should get a part-time job and do this, do that. But I just needed a little bit of time out
Mm-hmm.
so I can set up. And maybe in that moment, because I was growing, doing my own development, I've always developed throughout my whole life. I'm an educator. I love education. And I was developing, and maybe this wasn't the way he saw our life together.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted that 9 to 5 person who was
Right,
doing
right.
exactly what she was doing, as opposed to somebody who was exploring everything and wanted to really reach out into the world and do more.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the day, I was becoming more of myself.
You
So
were
I
gaining
cannot,
more of your, you were became, um, you're developing more of an independence.
hmm, yeah. And, you know, I've always been independent, and I was independent before we got together. And, and
Well,
I'm sure I changed.
emotional independence is different than financial or physical. You
Yes.
know, it's like, okay, this is who I am. I have, but communication is key. And if
Yes.
we're speaking two different love languages, because there could have been an expectation. Maybe
Yeah.
he thought, oh, good Lord, we got this big house and I need somebody to help me with these bills. and
Yeah.
she's going
Yeah.
and she's gonna lay up here like lunch meat. She ain't gonna do nothing. You don't know because
Yeah.
I'm not kind of in that situation, but my husband's newly retired. And I asked him, what are you going to do? And he said, you know what? That's one of the most irritating things about being retired. I said, what is that? People always asking me, what am I going to do?
Mm.
He says, I've done it for 45 years. I don't want to do anything. And can people respect that? And I said, well, they're just thinking that you're going to sit around and be bored and this and that. He said, but if I do, that's my business.
Hmm.
So allow space and grace.
Yeah.
You
And
know,
that's all I required, because I didn't intend to sit around and do nothing. But because I'd been working for that long length of time, I just needed that time just to
mhm. And that
breathe.
time could be a week, a two, it could be 2 or 3 years, as long
Yeah.
as the responsibilities are being taken care. But you know
Hmm.
what? And I say this, I don't know your ex-husband, but sometimes there's jealousy there. There's envy. Oh, well, I'm going to work every day, because we had a little strange, he had a strange look on. I've been married 41 years and we adore each other. But he had a strange look on his face when I started working from home. It's like, okay, yeah, I can go to the market or I can take a nap. I can do that, but I'm working
Mm.
until he saw that revenue coming in. I'm not just sitting here not doing anything,
Yeah.
but it's like, okay, I've got to get up. I've got, a routine. I've got to do this. I've got to meet with these people. I come home, I'm stressed. Your routine is just different. And people
Yes.
get envious of that. Even your friends get envious of that. Your girlfriends,
Hmm.
you know, your lifestyle.
Yes.
So when you
Absolutely.
found yourself wanting to become an entrepreneur
Hmm.
and become a crone goddess, how did that feel? Was that after you had dissolved your marriage or was
No,
that
it was
in the middle?
it was in the middle.
Mm,
And I was really building up. It was going good, but there was that underlying um, noise that was going on that
mm,
was stopping me taking even more steps.
mm,
And obviously, that was the marriage breaking down,
mm.
because it was like whispers. It was just there and everything. And the day he asked for a divorce, my first reaction was relief.
Wow.
I knew it was my first reaction. My
Mm,
second was guilt, because I thought, oh, I shouldn't have been relieved, you
mm,
know. Um, and then I did feel the fear of change and all what's going to happen now.
mm,
But it was in the year of being in the same household before I eventually left that I was building, and I was becoming my person. And I believe he couldn't understand, because I think he thought I wasn't realizing that we're getting divorced. And I was thinking,
Oh no,
no,
they want you to, again, they want you to be the Debbie Downer. They want you crying,
yeah,
they want you whimpering, oh no, baby, baby, please, please, I'm sorry, and this, that, But hey, you've taken the shackles off my feet. And it's a maturity because you consciously uncoupled.
mm-hmm.
So many times people want to argue and they want to hold you, keep you beholden to the money, keep you beholden to the sex. You've got kids. It's a control issue. And
Yeah,
when you learn to surrender, you soar because it's like being in an Uber. You're not the driver, baby. You're the passenger. you know, you just got to go along for the ride. You just got to go along
yeah,
for the ride. So, talking about rides, you ride on a bicycle.
yes, I do.
Okay. Tell me about the bicycle.
So I used to cycle when I was younger, and then eventually I did get a car. But in lockdown, because I was working from home, there was no point having two cars in a household, and I got rid of mine. And then obviously the divorce, I didn't get a car. He got the car. It was his car. Fair enough. So I just thought, I really still don't need a car. I can cycle. It keeps me fit. It gets me from A to B. And if I need to, I can get an Uber, you
Exactly.
know, and the train wherever I'm going. But yes, I'm on that bike. I am a little bit crazy on the bike. I've had a few knocks,
Mm.
slips. In fact, this morning I fell off my bike.
Oh wow.
Um, you know, but one of the things I do, and I think it's a big part of me, is I get up and I bounce back.
That's right. You get right back up on it. You do. And fitness,
Yeah.
physically fit, mentally fit, financially fit, all of that is a different process. It's a different mindset.
Yeah.
Take your time and figure it out. Physically, I am, you know, I love to eat, but I have to talk to myself to work out. I used to love working out.
Mhm.
Now it becomes a chore. So now I create a healthy habit. I have a little bike peddler under my desk. So when I'm
Yeah.
editing or whatever, I do that. I got a little weight ball. You were telling me to do more weights. I'm doing that.
Mhm.
But I also look at the gift of being mobile and to be able to move. So when you talk about transformation, don't get stuck, ladies. Keep it moving. If
Mhm.
you have to move from your relationship, you got to move your body, you got to move your mind. You got to keep it in motion because if you don't, you become stagnant, right, Valerie?
Absolutely. You've got to keep moving. And it's one of the most important things that we as women in particular, we need to do. We need to be on our feet. We need to be taking action. We need to be doing something for ourselves first. There is always the natural ripple effect of a woman being fulfilled, being happy, being contented with whatever she's doing. It is a natural ripple effect because that woman will ooze that and everybody will benefit from it. So a lot of women think, I should do this and do that, and stay in that stuck situation. But no, if you're doing something for yourself, it will naturally have an effect for everybody else. So therefore, it's being selfish not to do something for yourself. You have to put yourself first. We know about the oxygen mask in the plane and dropping down. We know that. Take that as the indicator. Do for yourself first. Everybody will benefit. Because if you're unhappy, how can you love somebody else if you're not loving on yourself first?
Exactly. But, and again, remove the things that no longer serve you.
Yes.
Like going through your closet. You go through your closet and you're going to find things with tags on them. You've never wore them. What is the purpose of having them? Or there's an outfit in there, the dress. Baby, you're not going to get back in that dress. I had some shoes. It was strange. I had some shoes, some cute little black Mary Jane shoes. I hadn't worn them because I've been, not going out socially during the day in meetings like I used to. I put those things on and I couldn't walk in them because they had stretched. If you don't use something, it is going to reform itself.
Yes.
Get rid of it. And it's okay. That doesn't mean that this person, place, or thing is not good, but it is not good for you at this particular juncture in your life. You will have to edit and filter and sort and get rid of things. And it's okay. It's healthy. It hurts sometimes because that dress sure was cute. But you was cute when you wore it when you were 40. Now you can't wear that shirt that and then dress that short and you're 65. It doesn't
Yeah.
look the same. It doesn't
Yeah.
feel the same. So that's what it is. People are so stuck in their ways that they feel that they have to do a certain thing. Free yourself and the rest will follow.
Yes.
You
And
know?
it's important that we look at it from now, not the past.
Right.
You know what I mean? You know, the past doesn't define us. So we need to look at things from now. Look at us. Who are we now? You know, look in the mirror, go, you know, this is me. This is me now. Who am I now? And live with that. Celebrate that. Embrace it. That's the important thing about, you know, being a Crone goddess. We look in the mirror and we accept ourselves now as who we are now.
Right. With all our imperfections. Stand there in the mirror butt naked and look at every blemish, every bump, every sag, every roll. You got that honestly.
Yeah.
You got that honestly. And if you did not have that experience, you would not be the woman that you are today. Even men.
Mm.
Men don't talk about it, but they go through it too. I'm sure that your partner reflects back on this and says to himself, wow, how come I didn't have that conversation? Look at who she's a look at who she's ascended to. You
Yeah.
know, are you still friends?
We're not enemies.
Okay,
I don't see him. We're not enemies. I've got still got love for him and wish him the best.
right,
You
right.
know, to me, I've just yeah.
Well, the universe is telling me that he misses his Crone Goddess. Because men, when they mature, they learn to appreciate a strong woman. They do. Um, as long as they're not emasculated. And that comes with their own evaluation and self-assessment
Yeah.
of really what is it. I've got a couple friends that have house husbands and they're just as happy. They take the kids, they cook, they clean, all that, and the woman goes out and she is the breadwinner. She makes the money. So those traditional roles are learned um, because they're embedded in us when we're children.
Yes.
Girls are going to do this, boys are going to do that. Daddy's going to do this, mommy's going to do that. But when you evolve and you ascend and you see, oh, wow, this is not what I thought it was, or it could be different, it's a whole different conversation. So we move in life and we get to this thing called the menopause.
Yes.
But it's not a pause, it is an evolution of life, it is a rite of passage. When you were a young girl, you went and you had your menses, and then you became sexually active, and then you became a mother, or maybe not a mother, and then you became a wife, and now you have taken all of this wisdom and broke out in a sweat.
Yes, and then forget.
And then forget, girl, my girlfriend got pregnant. She's 52. I know. And
Wow.
she said, well, what am I going to do? I said, well, you should have thought about that a long time ago. But this is her child. She said, the only thing about it, she says, I'm just tired. She says, but it's wonderful. But
Mhm.
things are still going on. What are some of the things that you experienced when you were going through the change of life?
Well, for me, it was a little bit different than a lot of women. So when I met my husband in my 40s, we decided, shall we go and have a child and everything? You know, we both didn't have children. So I knew it being in my 40s, just get my fertility check to see what's happening. I went for the result. At the age of 42, my doctor said that I was post-menopausal.
Wow.
Yeah. And then in the same breath said, if you want to adopt or foster, you can do.
Mm, mm, mm.
While I was taking in the post-menopausal, not peri, not meno, not
Right.
pre, post. And I was like, when did this happen? Because
I
when?
didn't get the email.
It's like, ooh. And that was the biggest slap in my face. One of the biggest slaps in my face because this was a decision that I didn't take lightly because of, like I said, the ugly term. I wasn't going to have ugly children, so therefore I was never going to have children
Mm,
until I met my husband and then decided, yeah, let's go for it. And then it was the biggest slap in the face. So in my initial assumption was, well, you said you weren't going to have children, so self-fulfilling prophecy and so forth. But it took me a while, and a wise woman had said to me, appreciate what you have got.
mhm.
And obviously, I didn't want to. I wanted to wallow in my own self-pity. But then, being me, I sort of went, yeah, well, get over yourself. But one of the things I acknowledged in this journey of um, motherhood is that you don't have to physically give birth to a child to have the mothering instinct.
Right.
I've been a lecturer for the whole of my life. I'm an educator. I've mothered for all that time. I am a godmother. I am an auntie to quite a few, and I'm a fantastic auntie.
Mhm.
So, one of the things for me in my menopausal journey was understanding that the mothering side I had anyway, but also the stops and starts, the roller coaster of emotions that comes with menopause. It was a way of appreciating that this was a natural um, moment in women's life. It's just natural.
Right.
And we just need to understand this is just part of what's happened. And as long as we are educated and have a better understanding of what's happening to the changes within our body, we can actually go through this menopause with a different mindset. Because for me, menopause is an initiation to the next stage in our life.
All right now. I just have to point things out from time to time. Okay. I
and,
just
and
yeah,
it's to be,
absolutely. It
yeah,
is. It is your stability.
yeah.
Um, the hot flashes were horrible, but with diet, I was exercising more then, uh,
Mm-hmm.
and understanding what is going on, having a person that's patient with you, but also giving yourself grace. That's just your homework, brains, is to look up the word grace.
Yeah.
Um, to be understanding and know that this is a part of it. I remember when I got my menses, I was like, forever? What is this all about? This is awful. What did I do why do I have
Yeah.
to feel like this every single month? What did I do? You know? So it is a metamorphosis of change, but it's
Yeah.
not just the physical, it's the mental. And you have to put that in perspective to say, okay, now I am maybe unapologetic. You don't have to be rude, you don't have to be abrupt, but you know what your boundaries are, you know what your limits are. Some things you don't even give a shit about no more. It's some things it's like, do I even want to give that my attention?
Mm-hmm.
No, because you at that point have more years behind you than you have in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
So what are you going to do with that? How are you going to raise that frequency? How are you going to be that crone goddess and soar above the clouds? How are
Yeah.
you going to, um, how are you going to choose to do what you do? Because it's a choice. It's a tough choice, but there's support. There's great people like Valerie that are there to walk beside you, not try to change you, not try to control you, but understand you and work with you to bring the best out. And I really believe that you can do that. You know, you've got the athletic perspective, which is the one of a winner. You know, athletes always have the mindset of a winner.
Mm-hmm.
You've been there. You have went through the ugly duckling syndrome and looked at yourself and said, you know what, this is not me. This is someone else's perception of me. This is what somebody else is putting on me.
Mm-hmm.
It's like getting in the shower. Wash that stuff off. Lotion your body up and rise again. So let's ask you some fun questions.
Yeah.
Okay. If you could time travel, you could go back to the past, stay in the present, or project to the future. Where would you land?
I would stay here now because my past is my past and it's gone. And I'm looking forward to the future with my eyes wide open and a big smile on my face. I'm ready to embrace everything that comes towards me because I feel good now. I'm me now. So I don't need to go back. I don't need to go forward. I'm enjoying it now. And I think everybody should actually step into who they are now and live life fully. So every day I wake up and I thank my bed for a good night's sleep, and I thank the Lord for another day on, on this earth. And I just step out and I smile in the mirror. And I
Yeah,
look, and I get up, I look in the mirror, smile in the mirror at myself, and say I love you. And I'm happy with that.
you are. You absolutely are. What would you say to the woman that's struggling with fitness? that just, I mean, you know, she's at that menopausal state. She's tired. She done dealt with them bad behind kids that she just picked up from your classroom. Uh, and what would you say to her about really, you know, getting out there and getting herself fit? Where does she begin?
So one of the things is taking small steps. You don't have to go to a class. You can start by doing things in the home.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you've got to think about it in terms of your quality of life. How would you like to see your life going forward? It's not just about reducing the fat, but it's about strengthening your muscles, therefore, having that natural impact on your bones to keep them strong. But you need to do something that you actually want to do. Don't point doing it for other people. You've got to do it for yourself. One
Mm-hmm.
of the things I will say is doing some form of resistance work, whether that's lifting weights or lifting your own body weight, because the more your muscles are toned and strong, the better for you in the long run,
Okay.
you know? Um, and the simpler things like get out and get some fresh air. Just literally get out and get some fresh air. And if it's just walking around the block, just walk around the block. But the thing is, take it step by step. Don't do big jumps. Don't have this big, massive expectations of big, massive change. Change will happen anyway. But you've got to enjoy what you're doing and don't be afraid. Just be brave. Take the first step. If it means going up and down your stairs 10 times in one go, do that.
Right. And don't measure yourself against someone else.
No, this is about you as an individual, how you see yourself. I have a program called Get Your Sexy Back and Beyond. And everybody normally thinks it's about swinging from the chandeliers or wearing sexy underwear. Yes, you can do that, but it's about your own self worth and your own confidence. And this is about you yourself. So when you look in the mirror, you see you. You're not seeking approval from anybody else. It's about what you look in the mirror and see. And it's about accepting yourself with love.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Um, if you were an appliance in the kitchen, what appliance would you be?
You know, I'd probably be a toaster. You know,
I would have a toaster. I usually get blenders. Everybody want to be a blender. They want to mix it up.
Yeah.
I had a woman
No,
tell me the other day she want to be a knife. I was like, okay. So why would you be a toaster?
well, it's something that you can pop out every day if you want to, but you don't have to. You can just pop it down and then you pop out and you spring out with a bit of life and a little bit of energy. And you can do it as your level. So levels, you know, browner, brown,
Right.
black, burn. You've got different levels. So it's about enjoying life and doing something different and um, surprising everybody.
That's pretty good. I usually am the refrigerator, but today I'm going to be the tea kettle.
Ah,
I
yes.
want to be hot and I want to be steamy. I want to whistle. Okay. I want to be the tea kettle today. I will do that.
Mhm.
If you could have a conversation with a 25-year-old Valerie J. Ritchie, what would you say to her?
I would say that you are beautiful inside and out, and be open to accept that from everyone else, but most importantly, accept it for yourself and do you.
And in closing, what do you want your legacy to be? How do you want to be remembered, Valerie?
I want to be remembered as a woman who pushed forth the Crone Goddess movement so that every other woman coming behind me understands that this is a moment to step into their greatness, not to be feared, but to relish and look forward to becoming a Crone Goddess.
Well, hell, where do I sign up? Tell my brains a little bit about the Crone Goddess program, how to get in contact with you, and if you have any offerings.
So you can get in contact with me through transformationinaction.co.uk. You can also get in contact with me on LinkedIn, and it's Valerie J, the Crone Goddess. The programs I do offer are things like Get Your Sexy Back and Beyond and Harmonizing Your Uniqueness. So these programs are done on a one-to-one basis where we look at the whole cycle of your life. So the physical, the emotional, the mental, the societal, everything that goes on in a woman's life. Because as I say, there's more to life than menopause. And by all means, jump on my website, have a look around, and contact me and let's have a chat. I love having powerful conversations that change your life in one conversation.
And that's what it's about, brains, is communication, talking, talking about your feelings. Contact Valerie. She's a complete stranger. Who better to talk to than somebody that don't know all your business, that's got an opinion? Because I always say opinions is like assholes. Everybody got them and they all stink. People will tell you. I say this is a thought. This is some information. This is something you might want to consider. But I don't give advice. I don't give advice. And I think working with a coach, a trained professional, even having a consultation is the best thing that you can do because you don't know what you don't know. We're going to put all of Valerie's information at the back of the interview. We're going to run this interview a bunch of times in different countries because we had a real heart to heart conversation. A lot of times, sisters don't let you in the room like this, and really pull back the layers of who we are and be vulnerable and tell you how we feel. You know, uh, there can be some misunderstandings, there can be assumptions, there can be lies, there can be deception, but on the edge ain't nothing but love. My love for you. So thank you so much, Valerie. Friends, I need you to go here, right here where we located on the edge. We are on YouTube. We have moved to Spreaker. We are in LinkedIn. We're on Instagram. We're on Facebook. for all the places that positivity lives. We're in the sky. We're looking at things from an eagle eye view, down on you. Thank you so much, Valerie, for being here on the edge. You are the best. Come back and see me. Keep me posted as to what's going on. And I'm going to try to figure out, I don't know how, but the boat is going to be there. I got to see you in Liverpool. Okay? I'm coming. I'm coming soon. All right. Bye, Brains. I love you deeply and completely. Okay? I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.